And hello, and welcome back. I am the infamous Bragi, the Viking.
And I am Egil Thorsson. Whether I'm infamous or not remains to be seen.
One day you could be infamous.
Ooh.
I've never been called infamous before,
No.
but apparently I am. Now today we're here for a very short video, and this video is to answer a question of who were the Vikings. And I leave this to Egil.
Okay. Hi. Well, apparently this is a question a lot of you have been asking. Who were the Vikings? Well, basically Scandinavians. That makes up Norway, Denmark, Sweden, I suppose Finland.
Finland, yeah.
And Lapland.
Slavs.
And of course, other parts of Germany like Saxony and the Jutes. And not forgetting ourselves, the good old British.
Oh yeah, can't forget the old English.
Yeah. So mostly Scandinavia is what they're referring to. And I don't know why you keep flipping that knife. It looks very dangerous out the corner of my
I'm
eye.
practicing.
Ow! You see, that's why. Tears before bedtime. Every time. Anyway, so basically the Vikings came from Scandinavia, Norway, Denmark, Sweden being the main ones. So if you have any more questions, please let us know. Press the old...
What did the Vikings do?
Well, what didn't they do? I mean, they were explorers, they were raiders, they were traders, they settled, they were farmers, and let's not forget, they're probably the first lawyers in this country.
Well, the Vikings invented law.
Yeah.
The old thing.
Yeah.
What's the old thing, Egil?
The old thing is a meeting of free people, men, I'm afraid, and you see this guy flipping his knife. It was a sign of his freedom, and he registered yay or nay with it. So the law speaker, who memorised all the laws, would say, "Who's in favour?" and Bragi would go,
Aye.
and he would be counted
Nay.
as a yes. And if it was a no,
Nay.
nay. And the law was enforced at the old thing. It took place about June time, and it still is in evident in the Isle of Man at the Tynwald.
Indeed.
And they make a big thing about it, which, you know, they should.
And of course, Manx is now a lost language.
Oh, right.
Sad, isn't it?
Oh, there it is, over there.
And who were the Manx?
The Manx were the people on the Isle of Man, and the Vikings settled there and found it jolly nice too. And I'm getting flashed at here.
It's alright.
Yeah, and like I say, there's a lot of Norse influence on the Isle of Man and the Manx. And people mostly know the Isle of Man for their pussycats that don't have tails.
Meow.
Apparently it's a genetic thing.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right, I have a friend of mine comes from the Isle of Man, Paul. Hello, Paul. Now, did the Vikings and the Saxons get on?
Well, mostly. I mean, some cases yes, some cases no. It depends. If you look round Derby, for instance, you'll see there's Viking names, but there will be Saxon names as well.
Indeed.
So they lived alongside. It was on. Yeah, I think when she settled in.
In Viking York, how could you tell the difference between a Viking household and a Saxon household? Because they talk about them living together.
Yeah, I mean Jorvik. I mean originally the Saxons called it Jorvik.
Yes.
And the Vikings called it Jorvik, that was more commonly known. Apparently, and may have been altered since then, and if I've got it wrong I do apologise, apparently the Saxons didn't live within the city walls.
Right,
The
they lived
Romans.
outside.
Yeah. Now, you can understand that. It's because by the time the Romans had left and the Saxons took over, these buildings were pretty shaky, and they didn't know about how to lay stone or...
Of course not.
You know, and when, there was an example, I don't know if it was in York, but they certainly found underneath a fall of the wall of a villa a Saxon skeleton.
Oh yes.
So
the infamous skeleton.
Yeah.
Of course, they did live in stone buildings because they did have some skills.
Later on, yeah.
Later on, when they, like in Chester, when they took over Chester again.
But the terms used are actually carpenter's terms. Yeah. Chester's well worth a visit. I had a good time there. They've got some nice Roman bits in the museum.
Indeed, lovely place.
Yeah, well, we went there. I was with you.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did go to Chester.
Yeah.
Years ago.
That's going back a bit.
Cool, blimey, I forgot about that, Egil.
Yeah, but it's well worth a visit. The Roman people who run it are really, really good. We had a great time there, didn't we?
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, and some great artefacts in the museum, and yeah, there's some great city walls, and if you're into antiques, there's some good antique shops.
Another great place to go and visit is Bury St Edmunds.
I don't think I've ever been.
There's a old Roman fort which they built a medieval fort on. Lovely museum. Great place for shopping. Of course, you're not far from Westow and for various other sites like Sutton Hoo. So I do recommend. It's very nice. Clacton Sea.
It's the eastern part, southeast.
Yes.
Yeah, because I should know this. I was born in Rochester.
Well, yes.
But yeah, I mean, Sutton Hoo, I dug there as a student. It's a very eerie place first thing in the morning. But I do remember Professor Carver playing golf off the Royal Mound.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so...
And what do you think is the biggest misconception about Vikings?
That they all went around screaming, yelling and killing monks. It was probably about 1%. The average Viking, I think, would be pretty boring because all they wanted to talk about was crops. They have been described as mead morons to me at one point. You've got a very small population who are extremely wealthy, too much time, too much drink, and you could see the opportunities in England that the Vikings didn't have in their homeland. I mean, for instance, winter time, there was no light at all.
No, couldn't really imagine that.
Yeah, and in summertime, it's light 24/7.
Well, let's talk about a light, because today in the modern world, you can just go in your room and press a switch, and hey presto, you got light.
Exactly.
But what did they use for light in the old times, in the times of the Vikings and the Saxons?
You've got a number of methods. If you were wealthy, you had tallow candles or beeswax candles. They were very, very expensive.
Were they?
Another thing you could do is get a reed,
Yeah.
drag it through tallow, beef fat.
Animal fat.
Yeah. Clip it and
Well,
light
that's
it.
very old practice of using little clay candle holders.
Well, there's also like little bowls with flammable oil.
I've seen that before.
Yeah. But the point is, mostly when the sun goes down, you go to bed. So their hours would be, this would be near bedtime for them.
Oh, I can't imagine going to bed now, could you?
And then waking up at first light. You'd make the most of the light. And you'd probably be outside until it started getting dark.
Cold.
Yeah. Well, just wrap up, put a cloak around you.
So we're going to end this in a minute. 2 more questions. Who was your the most famous Viking, and who's the most famous Anglo-Saxon? Who biggest influence?
Egil Skallagrimson.
Yeah.
My name, and of course, good old King Alfred.
Get up, King Alfred.
I'd like to add a third.
Yeah.
Queen Athelflaed.
Yes, let's represent the ladies here.
Yeah, she doesn't get enough publicity.
Hello.
And without her, we wouldn't have our language or our country.
Got nearly lost a ring then.
Yeah.
Oh, that could have been Viking treasure one day. That's how treasure was found. You know, there you are, your ring fell off, it lands on the floor, and before you know it, you lost it.
800 years later, Robert's your father's brother.
And yeah, that other brother called Robert, called
Well,
David.
Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this.
Yes, this is Random Questions with Bragi and Egil. Hey!
And a travel round his trees.
Yes, well that was earlier.
Okay.
Just walk off.
Oh, okay.
Leave a comment.
Press the subscription bell.
Only if